So after already covering a whole bunch of 2024's best hidden details, it's time to take a look at loads more cool details that rocked my socks. With this being my final video before Christmas, I hope you all have a great day, whether you celebrate the holiday or not, and we are currently 75,000 subscribers away from 1 million. So if you enjoy my videos and haven't subscribed already, help a brother out. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with the Tomb Raider 2 remaster. Now, Lara Croft is known for her appearances in the Tomb Raider games, and even though she looked like this in the early Tomb Raider games, she garnered a dedicated following based on her pointy assets. So thirsty were gamers back in the day that it wasn't long before rumours of a cheat code that would remove Lara's clothes in Tomb Raider 1 started making the rounds. Of course, there was no such code, but that didn't stop developers having a bit of fun in Tomb Raider 2. Apparently, if you were to step forward once, step backwards once, turn around 3 times counterclockwise, and then jump backwards, you would get to see Lara's pointy bits in all their glory. Well, in the interest of science, let's give it a try. So instead of removing Lara's clothes, this cheat instead blew Lara up, which I think is really funny. Now, one of my favourite games of this year was Crime Scene Cleaner. Not only was the game a fun clean 'em up, but it also told a half-decent story. The main reason that you spent so much time cleaning up crime scenes was Big Jim, who somehow finds a way to end any situation with a pile of bodies left in his wake. To prove how much of a loose cannon Big Jim is, why don't you try ignoring his call whilst riding an elevator?
Mr. Cleaner, are you there? Pick up the damn radio, Kowalski. Stop playing with me, motherfucker. I swear you'll go down with this elevator if you don't grab this radio within 5 fucking seconds. Well, fuck you.
So Big Jim will give you plenty of chances to answer the phone, and if you don't, he will send you plummeting to your death, which is typical Big Jim. The other crime scene cleaner detail that I wanted to share is really funny. During the Romance with Death level, you can go down to the basement and find this.
Wow, looks can be that deceiving?
So it's a big old pile of cash. The only problem is, the cash is basically worthless. Well, if you're persistent and pick up all of the cash, your efforts will be rewarded.
Yes, totally worth it.
So underneath all of the money is a crisp $100 bill. I'll let you guys decide if it was worth the effort. Another game that I loved this year was Angerfoot, which basically plays like a 3D version of Hotline Miami. It's a great game that can completely change depending on what shoes you're wearing. Oh, in-game of course, Angerfoot doesn't care if you wear Crocs when playing. Anyway, each item of footwear in Angerfoot comes with a different ability, and the Jesus sandals grant you a second life, which is very useful. Well, there is another perk that comes with wearing the Jesus sandals, that the game fails to mention. So here I am standing in a mysterious green liquid whilst wearing the standard shoes that you begin the game with. Pay attention to the graffiti on the wall and notice how it's above our eye line. Well, if you wear the Jesus sandals, the graffiti is now at eye level, and that's because the Jesus sandals let you walk on water, which is very clever. Now, despite shitting on the game every chance I get, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has appeared in all of my end of year videos. I mean, that doesn't mean the game's good, but it does mean that the potential for a great game was there, which if anything makes all the tacky live service stuff even more annoying. Anyway, the main selling point of Kill the Justice League was facing off against the Justice League, and it turns out that one of the League is watching you pretty much throughout the entire game. After completing certain missions, if you look to the rooftops, you can see this. So Batman can be seen watching the team from afar, which is really cool. If you try to get close to the Dark Knight, he will flee. which is typical Batman. Speaking of Batman, another cool detail can be found in Batman Arkham Shadow. Just like the other Arkham games, you can use the decoder to unlock certain doors. Well, if Batman gets some downtime, he can also do this.
There's a difference between the public interest and just what interests the public. I changed my mind when some punk threw a flaming brick through my studio window.
So you can use the decoder to tune into local radio stations, which are reporting on the events of the game, which is pretty clever. So if I'm honest, Astrobot could probably make up half of this video on its own. But in the interest of fairness, and because I featured it in the first video, I'm only going to cover 2 more details from the game. First up, when using the sponge power-up, which basically makes Astrobot a giant sponge, you can do this. So jumping in the water with oil on you will cause the weird rainbow effect that happens when water and oil mix in real life. I mean, it's such an unnecessary detail, which makes it all the better. The other Astrobot detail can be found on the same level. If you have Astro stand underneath running water, he will do this. So Astro will begin to shower under the water unprompted. Oh, and speaking of video game characters making the most of running water, in Luigis Mansion 2 HD, the man with the world's most popular name does this. Our final shower-related detail can be found in Moving Out too. If you take a break from chucking sofas in the back of a van, you can do this. So when you enter the shower, the game will pixelate your character to protect their modesty. Now many of you will think of Black Ops 6 as a shooty bang bang game, and for the most part, it is. But there are moments in the game where it's much more than that. In the master bedroom of the Rook, you can find nothing, which is a bit of an anticlimax. Not to worry though, as the game progresses, a chessboard will appear and the pieces on the board will change to reflect where you are in the story, with the final chessboard scene resulting in a checkmate. The first mission of Black Ops 6 is called Bishop Takes Rook, which is also a chess reference, so I'm guessing that somebody on the Black Ops 6 development team has been playing a lot of FPS chess. The other cool Black Ops 6 detail I wanted to share is actually useful. If you shoot any of the balls on a pool table, this will happen. So not only will all of the balls be potted, which is impressive in itself, but you'll also be given a free 100 points, which granted isn't much, but as my friend Tesco says, every little helps. So the Point Hope map in Phasmophobia is set in a haunted lighthouse, and there are plenty of nautical items you can find on your ghost hunting adventures. Of course, these items won't look out of place to the untrained eye, but if you head to the children's bedroom, fans of flags might notice something pretty clever. That's assuming there are people who are fans of flags. Anyway, these flags that are strung from the ceiling aren't random. In fact, they're trying to send you a message. If we take a look at the International Flags and Pennants table, we can see that each of these flags is linked to a letter. And if we match our in-game flags to this table, it spells Get Out. Like I said, unless you're a massive fan of flags, then I'm guessing that almost nobody would have known this detail. Actually, come to think of it, maybe the ghost would be better off writing a note or something, instead of relying on people's flag knowledge. So long-time viewers of this channel will know that I love a good idle animation, and the idle animation seen in Another Crab's Treasure is up there with the best of them. You see, if you go idle, this will happen. So Krill will begin to play with one of his health pods, which is cool. Well, what makes this so much better is that when you move Krill, he will drop the health pod, and it will actually be removed from your inventory. This means that you'll have to go and pick it back up if you want to use it again. And given how challenging Another Crab's Treasure is, I'm guessing that you will. So there are certain things in video games that we overlook because if we questioned them, then nothing would be fun. Take saving your game, for example. In Silent Hill 2, you interact with a red piece of paper to save, and James can be seen staring at the screen whilst you choose which save slot to use. This is fine when James is alone, but what about when he isn't alone? Well, the first time that you try to save the game with Maria, this will happen.
James? Is everything all right? Hey, you okay? It's like you froze for a second.
Yeah, it's fine.
So Maria will notice that James was staring into space and not doing anything, and will question if he's okay. I don't know about you, but I think this is brilliant. The other Silent Hill 2 detail isn't quite as clever, but I still like it. In Silent Hill, you have to smash windows. A lot of windows. And if you do this when with Maria, she will have several funny lines of dialogue.
Ah! You startled me. I could really use a warning next time. Nothing safe with you around, huh? Again. Again.
Right, let's end today's video with what is perhaps the most satisfying detail in the entire video. I've mentioned before how you can pick up and interact with almost everything in Sulaco, but when picking up and throwing a pile of paper, this will happen. I don't know why, but this detail is just really satisfying to me, so I had to include it among the year's best. So that's it. Like I said, this is my last video before Christmas, so I hope you all have a good time wherever it is you may be doing. If you did enjoy this video, then a like is really appreciated, and if you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.